get ready with me while I kind of introduce myself and talk a little bit and just kind of share a few things about myself. And I'm also going to show you my favorite makeup routine. I'm starting out with the Say Warm Glow. I always use this as a primer. I think it helps my makeup stay better. It also gives me that like lit from within kind of look. Anyways, so I just started a YouTube account and I think it's just such a fun way to share like all the sides of you and who you are. I want to be more myself, I guess. I just discovered this foundation from a makeup artist here. She's a bridal makeup artist. It's Kayla Collection in the Seattle area. It's Mayron. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Makeup, and it's literally only $12, but it is the best foundation ever. I trust the process because I start off like very dewy, but when I'm done, it won't be so shiny. I live in the Pacific Northwest and I love it here. I live just east of Seattle. I love that Pacific Northwest is such a mashup of like city and outdoorsy, and I feel like that like embodies who I am as a person. I love both. I love skincare, makeup, beauty, fashion, but I also love to be outdoors. I love to get down and dirty. Of course, we have like the best hiking out here, which I definitely have fallen in love with. And then I also love to snowboard. I didn't snowboard until I was in adulthood. One of my good friends kind of like helped me learn how to snowboard. And so it's like self-taught, but also had like some help from a friend, which I really appreciated. Now I'm using the Infallible 24-Hour Wear Concealer. I kind of like rotate between this one and the Say concealer. I am an author right now. I'm getting ready to publish a women's self-help workbook. Well, it's holistic weight loss and like nutrition basics and stuff, and just like approaching physical health from like a holistic standpoint. Some years ago, like I wanted something in my life that allowed me to heal people. So I decided to become a dually certified health and life coach. I was really young when I first got it. I was like in my early 20s, so people were like, what? Like, you are not a life coach, sweetheart. But I was just like proud of younger me for doing that regardless. And like putting myself out there, even though people thought it was like cringe. And I'm really proud of myself for that. I always like commend people who dare to look silly or be judged and do what they want to do anyway. I do like to do a little bit of art, mainly just sketching, gouache paint, and a little bit of acrylic, but nothing fancy. It's just something that I like to do, for fun. I also write poetry like a lot. And it was only recently that I actually had the courage to start like kind of sharing that a little bit. I don't think everything has to be for the public, but I would like to at some point like publish like a little coffee table poetry book or something. Also, I trimmed my split ends right before this, so I might have like little pieces of hair everywhere. I'm also really like into herbology and like self-healing. I have like a ton of herbs growing on my porch. And I have like a home apothecary. I make all of these different things from scratch, like bug spray for summer, body scrub, teas for healing, infused oils, and like all these other things, right? Like I even make my own home sprays, like all-purpose cleaning sprays out of like essential oils and herbs and stuff like that. So I'm really into that. And then I just love plants. So those are kind of like my hyperfixations that I love. It's so funny because like even my mom said the other day, she's like, you are so unique because like you love all these other things. Like you're a very curious mind. You love like psychology and reading and being outdoorsy and like kind of being like tomboy, but like you also love being like a little diva just as much, which is like, fashion, hair, makeup, that kind of thing. And I don't ever want to have to choose. I love both equally. And it's so funny because like sometimes I'll like go snowboarding or go on hikes and girls will be like, oh my God, like who puts on makeup to go hiking or like snowboarding? And you know what? My makeup and my hair is all messed up and like melted off by the end of it. But you know what? I did what I wanted to do and I showed up. I took some cute pictures. I had a great time and I did what I wanted to do. I also spent time in the country and the city, like equal parts. So it's like, they're both just such a big part of me. I moved around a lot as like a child and a teen. I was born in Washington State. I moved to Tennessee when I was 3. We lived there for 6 years. So we moved back to Washington when I was 9. I feel like I'm always like subconsciously trying to find my way back there. Even though like my life wasn't perfect and there were some traumatic things going on, like I was still the most present that I've ever been. My family was together and I was outdoors all the time. And I think like it was just such a fun way to live. My dad used to take me on these like long expeditions. They weren't hikes because he was metal detecting, but we spent so much time outdoors. Then after that, we moved back to Washington, lived in the city again, kind of like grew up there till I was a teenager, moved away to Fairbanks, Alaska for like a year, came back to Washington, then I moved to Whitefish, Montana for a while. I think I lived there like for about a year as well, very short period of time, and then came back to Washington. Always came back to like the inner city part of Washington. Like I lived in like the city, very urban. So I was like such a mix up of time in country and city. And I think that's a big part of like why I like the things that I like. And the Pacific Northwest like really fosters that as well, because we have both so close together. Like the country and the mountains are not that far from the inner city. Most of you already know this from like little posts, but I am a mommy of an 11-year-old little girl, and I choose not to post her. I'm not saying my way is the one right way, and that every mom needs to do that. That's just my choice. I think as time passed, I realized like how uncomfortable it made me to post her, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. So I'm not going to be posting her. And also it's her preference as well. Like she doesn't want to be posted on my socials. Like it makes her really uncomfortable. Like when I have been like, oh, please, like let's take a picture. Like I want to post this. It's so cute. Even on my close friend story, she's like, no. So I want to respect that as well. But I think me and her are both just kind of like in this place where like, I don't really feel comfortable posting her and she's not really comfortable being posted. So I don't post her a lot. And if I do, it's like her back's turned or it's like very brief or something like that. But I have my daughter full-time, so I'm a full-time mom. She's just like me. She wants to go. She loves the outdoors and stuff like that, but she's definitely doesn't have like the love for like makeup and skincare and everything and beauty that I have. That is a huge part of my life, but it's also very private. So as much as I would love to be a momfluencer, it's not where it's at for me. I have a mini Australian shepherd named Esme. She is such a sweet little baby. I bring her on hikes that permit it. And she can be off leash and stays really close by. She's my little cuddle bug. I'm so sad that the ethereal palette got discontinued by Makeup by Maro because literally it is the best palette. I've always structured my work around being a mom. Like I've always like bent over backwards to be able to have time with her because I was raised by a single mom. She had 3 daughters. My mom was like struggling to provide for us. We were like on all kinds of like government assistance, and she worked so hard that she was so depleted, I think, just from being in survival mode, but also it's just hard. It's hard to raise 3 kids and provide for 3 kids by yourself. And she was working so hard, she was so exhausted, and she just never really had time or energy to like be a mom, like be a present mom. Like she just had to make money and that's all she could think about. I was kind of like left to my own devices growing up, and like me and my sisters kind of raised each other. I always wanted to make sure that I had time to be a mom. And so I've really like bent over backwards to create income streams that allowed me to be more present and not be gone. Oops, I made this way too low. I wanted to always like be present and prioritize being a mom. And when she was about like 2 or 3, I was like, okay, I'm broke. I need to make more money. I became a hairstylist. I graduated from the Jean Wars Academy. It's such a good cosmetology school. They hold you to such a high standard. And then I worked at this luxury salon, and then I was a cocktail waitress. Like I would literally open the hair salon and then leave and go close this like cocktail bar on the Edmonds waterfront. I was so exhausted. I had like nothing left for my daughter at the end of the day. And I was like, oh my God, this is literally the embodiment of what I didn't want to happen. And so I kind of just like figured out my way. Like it goes so far against like everything maternal inside of you to be away and not like working is fun. And like, I always want to have a career alongside being a mom. Like that's just my preference. But it's like, as far as being gone from my child most of the time during the day and the week, it's just not for me. Like I want to be more present in her life, and I've always found ways to do that. I think now that she's older too, though, I feel like I can prioritize work more and be like, okay, like she's 11 now, like I can kind of like put work first and like work a little bit harder because she's also getting more independent. But I'm really glad that I got to be there more for like her developmental years. I just have so much respect for moms and, you know, especially single moms. And let alone moms without family around. Like I never really had family around, and it really does take a village to raise a kid, and you're kind of expected to be all things at once, and it's not for the weak. So I have just so much respect for moms, and even the moms who have worked 40-hour work weeks. Like this is not to say like I'm better or anything like that, or like you're doing anything wrong. Like we're all trying to navigate parenting, and there's no like one right way to do it, right? Like I'm not saying everybody has to do it my way. That was just my way. I also was a youth volleyball coach, just for volunteering over the last like 6 months. I was coaching my daughter's team, so I got to spend a lot of time with her, and I'm like, I don't know how she felt about having her own mom as her coach, but I think she liked it. It was, sometimes she's like, oh no, and then other times she's like, yeah, this is really fun. The longest hike I've ever done was Three Fingers Fire Lookout. It's like 36-ish miles. Like somebody needs to fact check that, but it's like the trailhead's washed out, so it's extra long. My friend Jose, like he used to like smash these hikes with me, and he never treated me like I wasn't capable of doing something hard. And he brought me on these like insane expeditions. So to conquer part of the trailhead, he brought these like little, it was like kids motorbikes. And I was like, I don't know how to ride this. And he's like, well, you're about to find out. He put me on one of those bad boys, and I think we took it for like, I don't know, like a handful of miles. I want to say like 4 or 5 miles or something. And then he had packed like a tarp and like a chain, and he chained them to a tree and like put a tarp over them. And then we hiked the rest of the way. And I had crashed my motorcycle twice on the way up. It wasn't anything crazy, but the first one was he like came to an abrupt stop. I think there was like a divot he was trying to avoid or something. I can tell the rest of that story another day, but moment of silence for my eyeliner. It's hard to talk and do it. One time I was snowboarding with a friend, and he can vouch for me because one of my friends was like, that didn't happen. I'm like, so I made like a selfie video of us talking about it. I was a pretty new snowboarder. It was my first year snowboarding, first season ever snowboarding. He was like, let's go on this little like mountainside like trail. And the mountainside trail, it's like there's the ice wall right here, and then there's like this narrow trail, and like on the right hand side there's like a drop, and there's like some trees and like some parts that can like shield you from the drop, but then there's like some open parts that in the trail where you could like fall off the ledge or whatever. And he's like, you can't turn your board sideways to slow down, like you have to keep it straight, which means you're gonna, you know, gain a lot of speed too. So I was like, okay, well, we'll do it. Like you just go through real quick. It's short-ish, so you're fine. Just keep your board straight, keep going. So I went first, thank God. And what happened was I was going really fast, and I was way too inexperienced to be doing this trail, by the way. There was like this protruding part of the ice wall that was like kind of sticking out. And as I'm like snowboarding by it really fast, it bonks my hip and like it like bumps me out over the edge of this cliff because I'm going so fast, and it hits my hip, bonks me over. And I'm like, I swear to God, I love telling a story because I feel so cool, and I feel like it's a dopamine hit every time I tell it. But I reach out and I grab the branch, and I'm hanging off this tree branch by my left arm, which is also my bad arm. Let me just say that really quick. I'm just sitting there waiting for him with my, you know, hanging off this cliff. And I don't know if I would have died if I fell, but I feel like I probably would have like broke my back. Like it was a pretty far drop. So he like comes up behind me, and he's like snowboarding past me. He sees me hanging, and I feel like he couldn't process like what he was seeing, because he goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm hanging off a cliff. Like, help me. What do you mean? What am I doing? Like, I'm about to die. Like, pull me up, right? And he starts throwing his stuff off, and he pulls me up. And yeah, I just like telling that story because I feel so ninja, and I'm so proud of that story. Also, another fun fact about me, it was like a year and a half ago, or like 2 years ago maybe now, I took a part-time job at some horse stables. They were a French classical stable, which is such an incredible way of riding. Like you have to look into it. It was part paid and part trade for lessons. So I got free horse riding lessons for me and my daughter for French classical. It was literally one of the coolest experiences ever. They had 2 mini ponies there, and we got to take them out in like these carts, and like we had to wear helmets. I was the stable hand, so it was a dirty, challenging job. It took me like 3 months I remember I like timed it, and it took my body like 3 months to get to the point where I could physically like get through my day without it being like really difficult. Like I built the muscles and everything. And the other perk to it was I would just have like an audiobook in or a podcast playing the whole time I was like working in the stalls. And I learned so much in that time frame because I was just constantly like consuming things. It was so good. The only reason it ended was because she sold the farm. I still have dreams about it all the time. And maybe like I need to get another part-time job at like a different stable or something, but I miss it all the time. And the more time passes, the more I'm like, that was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And I would love to be around horses more and like get better at riding and continue French classical. It was such a cool experience for my daughter. Like I could bring her to work. I would have her clean out the stables with me. I'd have her do hard labor. I'd have her ride in the pony carts. I'd have her see the horses and help with the horses. Yeah, it was such a fun experience. But yeah, I mean, that's a good start. I just kind of wanted to share a little bit more about me and like my personality. This is my makeup look. This is kind of like my go-to when I want to be like in the middle of like day-to-day makeup versus like super glammed up. This is what I would go to. Moderately glam, I guess. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, you could drop them below, and I would love to hear more about like your experiences.